Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and as you probably know, I like to do a walk around the garden on the first Sunday of each month, a sort of a garden tour just to see what's happening, if there's anything of interest developing, how things are growing. And this is the Sunday the 5th of May when I'm filming this. Should go out today, but we'll just see how the day goes. So I thought we'd have a walk around and see what there was to have a look at, see what's happening. So we'll start with my patio peach, Crimson Bonfire. Obviously been badly affected by peach leaf curl. I have removed a lot of the infected leaves, and there are actually some quite healthy leaves coming out, and you can see where the peach leaf curl is bad, that it's stunted all the peaches on it, but actually the stems that are slightly healthier have actually set some peaches and they're not looking too bad. So that's my patio peach. Behind it I've got my kiwi berry. Maybe a male, maybe a female, we don't know. Originally bought us on this side. Sergio thinks it's male. I can't remember now, I'll have to look at the flowers when they come out and give them a close inspection. I thought it was a female, but maybe not, can't be sure. But it's going to make a nice display if nothing else. Medlar is still flowering profusely. There's new flower buds coming out still on stems. Other flowers that have all but finished now. So we should have a reasonable fruit set on it this year. As I said, there's plenty of buds still coming out. Moving on down, I've got my repotted mulberry. This one is a white one. This is Carmen, absolutely covered in flowers, so we should get some fruits on this. Not particularly big fruits. The fact that I've repotted it should help them. Behind it, actually planted it ground, is my what I believe is still a Myers lemon, killed back to the ground in December 22, but it did reshoot from what appeared to be the area around or just above the graft. And in fact, when you crush the leaves, they do have a sort of a lemony scent to them. Doesn't look as if it's going to have any flower buds on it, but I am hopeful that it is still the Myers lemon to survive this winter without any issues. It's got new growth coming on it now at the top, but of course no sign of any flowers. I'll only be 100% sure if it flowers that it is a Myers lemon still. But I said it's sending out shoots anywhere. It hasn't sent out any other side shoots from the area of the rootstock, just the one stem. And as I said, not 100% sure, but it does smell very lemony. Behind it I've got a camellia that's finished flowering. One of my blueberries needs cutting back. It only had a handful of flowers on this one this year, so I think it needed to be cut back heavily, and I didn't bother. But the other one has got, the other two have got a reasonable amount of fruits on them, so it's not all bad news. We're still going to have blueberries this year. The first of my pineapple guavas is starting to put out growth now. This is Mammoth in ground. Joe's one's got flower buds on his. Mine is nowhere near that stage at the moment. I haven't seen signs of any embryo buds on this, but nevertheless, once this growth starts shooting out, shouldn't be too long before flower buds appear. I would imagine we'll have flowers by the end of June, beginning of July. One next to it is a seedling one, which I still haven't dug out as usual. Keep threatening to do it, and it's going to be a bit of a mission to dig it out, to be honest. And I'm just wondering if I should cut it back heavily and perhaps try and graft some other varieties onto it, because the fruits are absolutely useless on them. Behind in the ground and in full growth now is my seedling persimmon tree. I would say it's now at the point where I could cut it back and graft onto it, because it's put on about 4 inches of growth. It's absolutely covered in flowers, but it doesn't produce edible fruits. Although I had a couple of tiny ones on last year, that they look, although it's supposed to be a seedling Japanese persimmon, I think it's another one that's come, or Asian persimmon. I think it's another one. This came from Bernkoos. Isn't what it's meant to be. I think this is probably an American persimmon seedling or a lotus, because the leaves don't look right for the Asian ones to me, but obviously we're going to find out at some stage. But I think I'll just cut that back and try grafting onto it. I've got some scions in the fridge. Agropanthus doing nicely at the front. The back there is my Caesalpinia. That's now starting to shoot out. Hopefully we'll get some flowers on this year because it didn't flower last year. My in-ground pomegranate doing nicely. The new growth is this lovely sort of dark reddish colour. It's going to be some time from, it did flower last year, it even produced one tiny fruit about 1 inch in diameter, or maybe slightly bigger, that was barely edible. It had a maggot inside it, so somewhat disappointing. It's only had one set, but it's still better than none. This is growing quite vigorously now, and in fact I've spotted what appears to be one flower bud on it there. That's much earlier than the rest of the shoots, so it may have a flower on it by sort of mid-June, but I'm hoping to see a few more early this year, because if you don't get early enough flowers, you've got zero chance of getting any fruit set. Hidden behind there in the ground is my sunflower, pawpaw. No flower buds on it at all, but it's still looking alive, which is better than nothing. I think it did have one flower bud on it, but I suspect the snails have been up there and got to it, because they seem to have an affection for pawpaw flowers. My buddleia's coming up now from its big cutback at last, so we're going to have a few shoots on that this year. The Campsis on the fence is now bursting into growth, so that'll be in flower soon. My next pineapple guava, this one is Triumph, slightly more advanced on the shoots, even, than the Mammoth, but again I haven't seen any sign of any flower buds at all on the Triumph. That's looking relatively healthy otherwise, but as I said, plenty of new shoots on it. Behind it is my seedling pawpaw. Not looking too bad in terms of it's got plenty of flowers on it. I have been doing a little bit of hand pollinating, but I've been a bit lazy with it this year, so slightly concerned that I'm not going to have any pawpaw, because I've just been too busy. By the time I get home it's a bit late. This is the graft that did take on it. The other one failed, which was the Allegheny graft failed, but this one is Shenandoah, and this one's okay. Looks like I've got the protective wrap on it in time that it didn't damage it. Nice flowers on this, and these you can see these scale insects on here. A little bit prone to getting scale insects, they are, the pawpaw. Continuing on around, starting to see new growth on my in-ground Chilean guavas here. I've got two Kapow, and the other one is a Villarica strawberry. They're all putting out new shoots now, so I'm hoping going to see flowers on those. If we move a little bit further on, walking through the mud here, get to the back, here's my in-ground strawberry guava, which has survived the winter. We should be safe now. We're in May. Looks to be putting out some the buds are starting to develop now, so we should have some new shoots on this, and I think this will probably put on a couple of feet this year. Next to it is my little in-ground bacon avocado seedling put in last year. Most of the shoot has died, but it is starting to put little shoots out here from the base, so it looks like the bottom 3 or 4 inches is okay. No signs of life from my Maypop yet. It's probably a bit early for it to be putting out any shoots if it is going to survive the winter. They go completely dormant below ground, so we've had a very wet winter, and that could have killed it off. It remains to be seen. But my Passiflora caerulea I planted is looking fine. I think that's going to take, and we'll have should have flowers on that this year. Moving on round, these are my repotted two jujubeas that I've got. Signs of life, I'll get it to focus. Signs of life on this one now. This is the Lee. They don't like being repotted, it does affect them badly. But it is shooting out, starting to shoot out now, so that's okay. We'll get flowers on it, but probably no fruits. And this one is the Lang, and that's also responding to being repotted. So we've got shoots coming up, and I'm hoping now I've put them in a bigger, much bigger pot, they're going to do better this year. Just a brief look at the pineapple guava that I've transplanted here. This is a Gemini, will have been set back a bit by being replanted from a pot, disturbed the roots, but looks pretty healthy otherwise. A quick look at my Asian pears. The only one that's got fruit set on it is my Shinziki, which I've had the longest. As you'll know, I repotted them all this year, and I put one in ground as well. Shinziki's looking quite good, to be honest. Has got some fruits on it. I've picked off all the stunted fruits, and I'm probably going to bag the others to try and keep the codling moths off. My kiwi berries on the back. One is a male, one is a female, but one of them has died back. Seems to have died back to the ground, near enough. There's a little bit of green on it, but it seems to have died, the plant, apart from some shoots right at the bottom. And this other one is not looking too bad, but I don't know which one's male and which one's female now, because the label's got knocked out the grounds and blowing around, and I'll put them back in. They might be in the wrong place. This one, this Asian pear, is Nijisiki, but it's got a few deformed fruits that clearly haven't set on it. I think it's been set back by the repotting too much, so I'm just hoping it's going to send out some shoots, because it still hasn't got any shoots lower down the stem. The one I put in ground, which is my Korean Giant, or Olympic, is looking fabulous for being in ground. It was a particularly healthy tree from Frank Matthews, and that's already growing nearly a foot on the new growth, so I'm really pleased with that. The other one in a pot, which is the Hong Li that I cut back heavily a couple of winters ago, is now recovering nicely and sending out plenty of growth, and next year I expect that to flower. I've got another one in the pot here, which one is Kumoy. Seem to remember, yeah, it's got one fruit on it. I think the chances of that one fruit making it to maturity is 0. I might try and put a bag around the fruit, but I don't have much hope of that lasting. It's only got the one fruit set, which is better than none. This is my Szechuan pepper plant, and I seem to recall, I'm not sure where I saw them, but I did think I saw some flower buds. Oh yeah, here we are. It's got some tiny flower buds there. I would imagine, yeah, there's some there as well, right in the middle. I think it's going to produce a few more peppercorns this year. It's still a young plant. You can probably see the embryo flower buds in the centre. It's a young plant, but I'm expecting to see some flowers on it this year. Here on the ground we've got another mulberry. This one is agate. This produces lovely big fruits, but it's only a very small plant so far. I'm not expecting much out of it. One of my 2 grafted pawpaws in pots, that's Pennsylvania Golden. It's quite a small stunted plant, but it has got a few flowers on it. I have tried hand pollinating them, but I don't know if they're going to be successful. And next to it I've got the Prima, which has got a reasonable number of flowers on it, and I've been trying to pollinate them with the pollen from my seedling tree, so I am hoping that I will get a few fruits again this year. I'm not going to go through all the persimmons, there's too many to look at. I've actually got very poor, this one particular one has got a lot of flower buds on it. This is Costata, did produce 2 or 3 fruits for me last year, but it's got plenty of flower buds on it. But I've got to be honest, most of my persimmon trees, for whatever reason, don't seem to have flower buds on them this year, or at least not many that are noticeable. So I think they're going to spend a year growing rather than actually flowering for me. Brief look at the figs. There's not much to show on them. They're all putting out new shoots now. Most of these plants really could have done with being repotted, but I just haven't had time to do them. but they're looking pretty healthy for all that. No Braber figs on any of these plants, or none worth mentioning. They're not really well, I think they're being too restricted in the pots, to be honest, to be fruiting successfully as Brabers, but they're probably not Braber producers anyway. Looks like there might be a few on this one. This is a brown turkey, so no surprise at all that it's got a few Brabers on it. I did have a feeling, I thought there was some Brabers on the Goots door, but there seem to be almost no Brabers on any of these at all. And the brown turkey nose are very dried out and stunted looking. There's a Braber here on this. This is a Black Madeira, allegedly. Not really a Braber producer, but it's not looking too bad, the fig. Assorted pineapple guavas at the back here. I've got several varieties. Can't remember which ones are which. This one at the front is Coolidge, which probably means the one behind it is probably Apollo. Again, not much growth showing on them at the moment. That one's Marion, and I think I've got Nikita's Gift over the back. The loquats growing fabulously, doing really well. No flowers of course this year, but I'm really optimistic if they put out all this new growth this year that I'm going to see flowers this autumn on both of my loquats, because they're both at a size where I'm convinced they're going to flower for me next year. And I'll give them some food. This is a seedling Lotus Persimmon. Probably going to cut that back and try and graft onto it. My only variegated Chilean guava still alive there. Looking at my chocolate vine on the fence, that's looking very promising. Does appear to have had some fruit set on it. I mean, they're very small at the moment, so we won't know for a while how they're going to end up, but they're not looking too bad. My rhododendron, it's actually flowering this year for the first time in about 3 or 4 years. I'm pleased about that. Still got the honeyberries. I thought these would fly away at £15 for the size of them, but no one local's been interested in coming to buy them. So they're still in pots waiting for any potential buyers. This is my Issai, or 2 Issais planted side by side, putting out nice growth this year, but I thought it was going to flower for me, and once again, not a single flower bud in sight. It had some embryo buds, but I suspect they've been eaten by the snails because I seem to be very fond of them. The only thing I'm hoping with this is once it grows up to the top of the fence and it's in the full light, that it will start to fruit for me. The repotted Morris Nigra, the black mulberry, Repsime, shooting out really nicely now. Might produce some fruits for me this year, although they tend to have to be much bigger to fruit, the black mulberries. Next to it's my apricot, loads of flowers on it, didn't set a single fruit. Looking around further, this is my newly planted duo apple. Looks like the buds are just starting to swell. It was only planted about a week ago. That's Bramley and Braben on one tree. My pink Moldovan mulberry just starting to break out of the shoot now, as is my Illinois Everbearing, so that looks like it survived the repotting, so I should get a few fruits on it. And that's really about all I've got to show here, and we'll have a quick look at the at my fig. The in-ground one has got some Brabers forming on it. Others have dried out, and this is quite normal with these, that you'll get some of the Brabers will take, and others like this one will dry out and not make anything. But it's starting to growth early this year, so I'm hoping that by the end of May I better pinch out some of these tips and try and force main crop figs this year, so we'll see what happens. Peach leaf curl is dreadful on my other one, which is meant to be a flat nectarine. And it has got a few embryo fruits on it, but at the moment they haven't got the shape of flat ones, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not another mislabelled plant. Just have a quick look at the ones that I lifted out of the grounds that I potted up. This is my Cornus Cousa here. That one was in a pot, it's a bit pot bound. That's a pomegranate, which is a Molar Delche. And here's my Luma apiculata, which is really done fine for being dug out of the ground, and now it's got loads of new shoots coming out of these main stems I cut back. So I'm really pleased with how that's doing. Whether or not I plant that and my parents sort of leave it in a pot here remains to be seen. So it's a bit messy round here. So here I'll work on repotting plants. So on the whole, and just the last one to do is a Japanese raisin tree. Don't know how big they have to be to flower. I can't see any signs of flowers on it this year. Damaged stem there, some animals got to. Probably a bird knocked it off. Yeah, I think they've got to be a lot bigger than this to flower, but hopefully it will do one day for me. As I said, well, it looks like we're going to get some Brabers on this tree at least this year. I said there's quite a few of them have dried out higher up in the tree. Might even be cold damage. Not sure. Certainly won't be drought damage. So anyway, that's a quick overview of the garden and how things are looking at the beginning of May. Should be a lot more to see next month, because by then we'll be starting to see flower buds developing properly on the persimmons that have got them, and possibly signs of flower buds on the pineapple guavas. So the June tour should be a bit more interesting than the May one, but I thought I'd do a quick update anyway. So thanks for watching the video, everybody, much appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up. Welcome to share the video, of course. Subscribe to my channel, and remember to click on the bell if you'd like to know when new videos come out. Catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.